What's going on, true believers? Chris Mack coming at you with an action figure review that I've been biting at the bit to do, but as I said, I have a backlog, so sadly Logan here is taking a back seat. This is the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave X-Men's Wolverine. And if you guys want to pick this one up, it's getting harder and harder to find. I looked at DMW, Dorkside, and Big Bad, no dice. So you're either going to have to do the secondary market, or as I always say, please, first and foremost, check with your local comic shop and see if they have one in stock. That's how I was able to finally get my hands on this particular one. So as you can see, we have Wolverine here. Love the X-Men logo there. Juggernaut at the top. Got that nice little varnish X there on the side. We got he looks like he's supposed to be attacking, but he's kind of smiling. Still a nice piece. I love the yellow. Everyone from this wave looks like that. It's very cool. Come around the back. Got an awesome product shot here. Get a read-up. I'll get a close-up so you can read it at your convenience. Same with the figures from the wave, so you know what you need to build Juggernaut. Come around here to the side. Same fancy schmancy artwork. Nothing on the bottom. So what say you? Let's get this awesome Berserker Brown Wolverine out of the packaging and get a closer look at him. And here's Mr. Hallett out of the packaging and just looking at him posed, getting ready to attack. I'm still in love with this figure. I bought him almost 2-3 years ago now, and every time that I take him out to photograph him or just to show him off, I fall in love with it all over again. This just screams the era of X-Men that I loved reading in the comics. Even though the animated series, which a lot of us hold near and dear to our hearts, he used the tiger stripe, that's all right. I love any time that they throw Wolverine back in the brown and yellow outfit. That's why I'm thankful in the new Dawn of X titles, at least they gave him his uniform, and I am super thankful for that. So with that said, let's get him off the stand and get a closer look at everything this action figure has to offer us. Now, we've already gone over Wolverine's backstory when we did the Uncanny X-Force Wolverine, so I'll make sure to leave a card up here where you guys can click it at your convenience. However, the first appearance of this uniform was in the pages of Uncanny X-Men 139, designed by John Byrne. Up to that point, I think it was Uncanny X-Men 107, 108, somewhere in there. Dave Cockrum was the artist. He left, and then John Byrne kind of ran with the yellow uniform for a while, and then finally gave us this Berserker uniform. And this is still to this day a fan favorite. That's why I'm glad when artists decide to kind of get a hair up their butt, they usually use this uniform. The latter half of Matthew Rosenberg's X-Men run, which was superb, I'll eventually go over it. He donned the brown uniform, and then in House of X Powers of 10, and moving forward with Benjamin Percy's Wolverine, he has donned this uniform, and everyone just loves it. If you're not, let me know down in the comments if you're not real keen on it. Now, with that out of the way, the only two accessories this Wolverine comes with are, other than the Build-A-Figure piece for Apocalypse, are an extra set of hands, which are always welcome, considering the fact that you don't really want to pull the claws out of the ones there because they are a pain in the butt to get back in. So I'm glad that we get sheathed claw hands, so if you just want to do some punching, great stuff there. Now, for the paint apps themselves on the figure, well, actually, you know what? Before we even do that, the one thing that I will say that drives me nuts about this Wolverine, even though I love it, on the head sculpt, I don't like that somber mouth. I wish they would have included an extra head so that we could have gotten, kind of the more somber, serious Wolverine that we all know, and then like a snarling one. That would have been a welcome addition. And that's kind of, in a sense, you have to buy both Wolverines. So like the one that we'll be going over here in the near future is the tiger striped one. And see how on this one it's somber, and on this one it has more of that Berserker rage. On the upside, thankfully, you can swap the heads out, but I like how his mask fins here flip out more, though this one has more of the pointy one. I prefer the skull cap on this one. This one is okay, but it's just sort of like, But to swap them out, let's see if we can do that real quick here on camera. Get those claw hands out of my way because they chap my butt. And they like to grab onto my gloves constantly. So pop the head off there. Come on, pop the head off there. And see, look at that. The yellows match pretty damn good. I mean, this one's a little bit darker, but just see how when you get that berserker rage on this Logan, how that just that looks more menacing instead of like. So yeah, the Tiger Stripe Wolverine head sculpt in that regard is best. I do kind of wish that this fanned out more because that would look a hell of a lot better. I'm sure you could probably warm it up and tinker with it and whatnot, but still, I prefer this head sculpt on there. So let's go back to the original one for the sake of this review. Now, bias aside, the head is nice. I just don't understand what they were thinking when they said, well, you know what, we're going to give them their favorite Wolverine and we're going to give them a very calm expression. That was kind of stupid, especially when you want to put them up against Sabretooth or somebody. It wouldn't make sense to go into battle with this type of look on your face. There's a little bit of black bleeding on the nose there, whatever. But I do prefer, as I said, the wings on his mask on this one a lot better than the other one. The yellows are nice. Browns, absolutely superb. One thing about this uniform that I've always loved is the red belt compared to... Now, don't get me wrong. I do love the X on the Tiger Stripe because this is what we kind of all grew up with from our generation. But this just screams classic X-Men when they were still able to experiment and try out new things during the Claremont era. Love that yellow, browns. The claws, I'm thankful that with the Uncanny X-Force Wolverine that we got those thick, nice claws. And the Berserker Wolverine from the Krakoa wave has these. We will go over that wave eventually. But I'm just kind of glad that they got rid of these dingy claws because even on my old man Logan, they do that. It's just like, damn it, stop it. But I do like that they made sure to leave the little sheaths. I'm not sure what those are supposed to be called. Again, if you watch the Amazon documentary called Chris Claremont's X-Men, you know, Lynn Wein, him, and I believe it was Cochran were talking, and they said that initially Wolverine's claws were supposed to be part of the costume. And I can't remember if it was Claremont or Byrne who mentioned, they said, why don't we make it a part of him? And they said, ew, that's gross, let's add it. And so that's how Wolverine's claws became a part of him. And I'm glad that they did that, because if it was just part of the costume, that would have been really stupid. And I remember when I started buying the toys before I even knew the cartoon or the comic, I just thought they were cool-looking toys. I thought it was part of the costume. I'm glad that was changed, in my opinion. Anyway, I hate that they stamped this on the thigh. Stop it! That is so fracking annoying. Knock it off. Boots, the brown, the ripples, the black. So you could have put it down here with all this other bullshit. Come on now. Anyway, paint apps. Overall, as you can see, they really made sure to pay attention to details. Very beautifully well painted figure. Claws are kind of a pain in the ass, but if you warm them up and kind of tinker with them, you can at least make them look like they're supposed to. But I still prefer... Oh, and here's another thing, folks. These hands, for God knows whatever reason, I'm assuming whoever was doing quality control that day was probably snorting crack or something. But you know how usually you'll put the hands in here and you'll feel like a good pop? These, when you kind of just barely move them around, and it's not just mine. I thought maybe it was just me, so I looked up, I think it was Shartimus Prime's review, and he said that his figure does this too. So whoever did quality control on this figure, you're a jackass, and we don't like you for this. Anyway, other than that, the freaking stamp on the leg and the somber on the face, I would definitely still say the paint apps on this are absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. For articulation, they really did do a good job with this Wolverine. So we'll start with the head. He's on, I think, a double ball joint, because you can get him all the way down to his chest, and you can get him to look up that much. So if you want to do a fastball special with a Colossus or just have him jumping at somebody, you got great work there in the neck. Got some play there. And of course, back and forth there. Go that far that way. That far that way. Let me focus, because he's like, let me just come close to the camera and get out of focus on you guys. He does have a butterfly joint, so you can move his arms in and out that way, which is always a welcome addition. Arm spin 360 You can go out that much, and then of course you pull it out that way, about that much. Double jointed elbows, wrists spin 360, then go up, then go down, seat go up, seat go down. Ab crunch, go down that much, go far, about that far backwards. And again, as I always say, please first and foremost warm your figures up so you don't run any risk of breaking them. Does spin at the waist, just got to be careful on the belt. As you can see, it kind of moves out of place there, so just be careful. Legs, that much, upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, foot go up that much, foot go down that much, and of course, ankle pivots. So that's the articulation overall. Great for this older of a figure. I'm glad, especially for the head. See how the wrist thing I was talking about, how it just pops out and you're just like, God, it drives me nuts. But overall, in terms of articulation, they did a great work. So when you really want to get him in some attacking poses, you're going to have a great time with this Wolverine. For comparisons, here's the Sauron Build-A-Figure Wave X-Men's Deadpool, the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wave Sabretooth, and Wolverine. And the scaling is, to me, spot on, because Wade stands at a usual normal male's height between 5'8" and 6 foot. Wolverine is kind of the runt. That's why they always call him the runt, because he's smaller, around 5'3", 5'4", I think. And then because Sabretooth is big, Mr. Beefy, he's always going to be taller, and he always dominates over Wolverine, which means he'd also dominate over Wade. So I'm glad that when Hasbro took this license, they paid attention to scaling in that regard, so you're not having Wolverine and him standing the same height like they would be with the original early 90s Toy Biz figures, where everybody was kind of the same head height and whatnot. It just didn't make any sense. So I'm glad that a lot of action figure companies are really starting to pay attention to that, even though we got used to this and now we're trying to get used to the 7-inch and 7.5, 8 inches with the McFarlane action figure. So it's like, oh boy, here we go again. But nonetheless, these four, love them, love them, love them. Let me know what you guys think of each and every one of these figures down in the comments below. Overall, this is an absolutely amazing figure. I'm glad that I found it when I did, because I was trying to go back and get all the Juggernaut Wave figures, and let me tell you, that wave, each passing year gets harder and harder to find, especially figures like him, the original Rogue, Iceman, Kitty, the Deadpool from that wave. But let me tell you, when that came out, it knocked everybody's socks off, because we got some awesome action figures out of that wave. And Wolverine is no exception. Yeah, the couple of things that do aggravate me, I hate that they put the legal stamp thing on the back of his thigh. I do not like the claw technology here. I'm glad that when the Uncanny X-Men Wolverine that we went over, or X-Force Wolverine we went over, had those nice thick ones. And then the new Krakoa Wolverine that has this brown uniform has those thick claws as well. So I'm glad that Hasbro learned that these dinky ones are not going to cut the mustard no more. That aside, gorgeous figure. I do wish that we would have got a snarling face instead of just kind of a more somber look. But, at least you can swap out the heads with the tiger stripe, and you can kind of get that look as well. So overall, gorgeous figure. Love it so much. And as I said, if you guys have enjoyed it, please check with your local comic shop and see if you can get your hands on it, because the secondary market's going to probably go nuts with this one. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little adamantine bell next to subscribe, that way we can continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you all and hearing your thoughts down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.